Hello, and welcome to the first part of a two-part video going over flight. I'll be going over flight twice, basically because in version 0.9, the speeds will be doubled and racing module will be available for playing. So with the racing module coming out, I get the feeling precision-based flight will probably be a skill set that I'll have to develop, and I'll really be able to go into more detail based on the changes, especially since the speed will be doubling in the next patch. I'm loading up Vanguard Swarm because it's a good area that you can talk about both in-close and distance fighting with very little risk of death until the later levels. The first thing I want to go over are the various flight modes. Coupled versus decoupled. When you're coupled, you fly where you're pointing, and when you're decoupled, you just slide in a Newtonian model. They both have different uses. I'll go over them as we fly around. The second setting is G-Safe. G-Safe basically prevents you from doing a rid-out or blackout when you pull extreme Gs over a long period of time. Basically, any kind of high G-force turns will eventually cause you to either rid-out or blackout, although I seem to be kind of immune to that at the moment. There we go, there's some red out. So, red out, it's bad, can't really see anything. But the truth is it takes an awful lot to start redding out and blacking out, so you really want the extra response time that you'll get by being able to pull more Gs. Now, if I have G-Safe on, I won't be able to rid out or black out because it will just start to limit how my ship maneuvers, how quickly it turns, things like that. And if you do get in a situation where you're starting to rid out or black out and you need to come out of it quickly, go into decoupled mode. The moment you do, you're rotating on an axis. So no matter how much you spin, you basically pull no Gs. It's a huge and simple way to get rid of additional G-force build-up, such as ridding out or blacking out. The last one is ComStab. ComStab is basically traction control for spaceships. I can turn much faster with it off, but at the same time I get a shaking in the controller, and I use an Xbox gamepad, by the way. I've tried the mouse. I found the mouse really wasn't sensitive enough. I felt like I was missing a lot of things quite frequently. So I use an Xbox gamepad. I don't own a controller. So that's why I'm on this. Anyway, ComStab is... I think if you're playing with a mouse, you should always keep it off because it probably doesn't hinder you, since you've always got a gimbal name. Be a bit of a hindrance with a controller, and I can imagine a joystick with any kind of force feedback, it may hinder slightly. It does make it slightly harder to aim, but I believe the advantage in turning to be quite useful. I also turn G-Save off. I prefer the plane to fly, or, well, in this case, the Hornet to fly as quickly as possible and to turn as fast as possible. I'm okay with getting some red out and some blackout. I can usually avoid blacking out. If you ever need to swing around an asteroid, the best way to get good at flying through asteroids like this is to just go into free flight or Vanguard Swarm and just practice flying around. It's always good to know where you want to turn and to be pointed that way before you get there. That way you can just maneuver quite easily around an asteroid because you're going to continue drifting in your direction anyway. So that's how you stay kind of close. It's a practice thing. We're never as good at flying as we think we are. So always keep that in mind. Try to not go full speed into the asteroid fields. That's a fantastic way to die. Now, there's something worth noting. Fighting an AI is simultaneously easier and much more difficult than a human player. The reason for that is simply because the AI is much better at avoiding asteroids, stationary objects, and more importantly, they're very good at avoiding you. You'll find that if you go into decoupled mode, if you're about to slam into them, most of the times, I'd say 8 out of 10 times, they'll not hit you. They'll manage to avoid you. So, a player, they'd slam into you every single time. So, that's kind of how that plays out. I find that the optimal range to engage with the Hornet is really around 300 meters to 100 meters. It's not that hard to stay on target. It's a skill that you'll need to practice, though. With the gamepad, I found that after about 3 hours of play, I was able to get used to the sensitivity, and the more I play in a day, the better I get at actually hitting my targets. So, and always remember, fire your guns in bursts. If you think you're about to get out of your edible, don't sit there and heat up your guns. It's just not worth it. You know.
Warning. There are multiple
you get points for shooting your allies. That's really how basic flight works. When it comes down to dogfighting, like the AI, you really always want to be going less than 100% throttle. The problem with being fully throttled up is it makes turning much more difficult. You're much more sluggish to change vectors. I mean, at this speed, look how long it's taking me to get a direction change. I mean, you can just see by the indicator, that took a very long time. It's why when they double the speed, I'm worried. Well, I think it's going to be much easier to blow people away. I don't think people are going to get what they want out of that speed increase. I think what people really want is a sense of speed. So once they double the speeds, you're really going to have to back off of the throttle in combat, because if you're at 100%, you're going to be unable to turn, and while you're making these long, slow arc turns, you're basically wide open to attack. So I personally would say that when you're fighting and flying, and you know, at this level I can be at 100%. Second wave AI is not really going to challenge me. You know, I find it really gets difficult around wave 13 to 14 when it kind of goes into missile spam territory. So what I'll probably do is I'll cut to wave 14 as soon as I get there, and show you that.
Contact. Elite units en route.
Bogey. Scanning. Forward shield, 75%. Alert. Forward shields down. Collision. Warning.
And that's when you screw up.
25%. Weapons system.
Anyway, I will pick this up.
Shields charging.
It's getting kind of late here. I'll pick this up to
25%.
as soon as 0.9 comes out. I hope this has been informative, and if you have any questions or have any requests, let me know. I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Warning. Bound shields 25%. Scanning. Alert. Starboard shields down. Shields charging. Lock. Warning. Port shield 25%. Lock. Target destroyed. Shields charging.